Welcome to Road to Billions podcast, the mentality of an entrepreneur. With your host, Moise Bertrand.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It is your host, Moise Bertrand, the Road to Billions podcast. I appreciate every last one of you guys for listening and tuning in. The new listeners, I appreciate you guys, most importantly, because you're now introducing yourself to this new way of thinking. You get me? And for my old listeners, I just want to say I have internal, love for you, like for infinity. You get me? Because you've been a supporter no matter if it's been days, weeks, months, years. You've been listening in and you've been keeping up. So I just want to say I thank you as well. Tax deed sales, you get me? I want you guys to really take advantage of this income tax season that you guys have, because a lot of people are going to fuck this money up, and the money that you got back, you get me? That money you got back is not for you to go spend and stuff like that. Yes, you should take a little and take care of yourself, buy that nice cologne, buy that perfume, take that vacation, only if it's permissible, if it makes sense. But also just, like I said, spoiling yourself and putting some aside. And I try to let everybody know, like, you're not going to make the first mistake, you come across, right? You may not make a mistake until later down in your life with money. And that's because you may have so much money at one time that you might fuck it up because you think you have so much it's going to last. And that's literally the oxymoron. Like, it's like the little you have, the more you could do out of it. The more you have, the more you're able to like run through it and fuck it up. So I try to give people the best advice. And, the best advice I try to tell you guys is invest your money in various ways. So tax deed sales is a various way to get into real estate. And not only that, it has multiple ways you can actually expand within that market with itself. So tax deeds is a public auction that you can pretty much go to. They hail it in different counties and, of course, different states. So I know here in Atlanta, they have Fulton County. They just had one in the state March 5th. And those are tax deed sale auctions. Do I participate in those? Sometimes I don't want to like be in no competition. I feel like I have my own market. You get me? I have my own thing that I'm doing. But it is good for someone who wants to go ahead and like see what's out there. You get me? I never really took it serious just because I know you're bidding against other people literally on the spot. And you make a bid. You could have did something else with that $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 if it's going to buy a property that is, worth $500,000, $600,000. But most investors I know, they kind of stay in their lane, right? Because like I said, at an auction, anything goes. You may pay double. You may not get a good deal. It may not be a good deal at all. Like you're taking a bet on the property because sometimes these properties are in horrible condition and sometimes they're in really great condition. And it's only up to you to determine that. So you got to do your due diligence. And then you're competing against people who have hard-earned cash, who have tons of money. You don't know where they're getting their sources from. So it becomes now a bidding war. And I like to stay relevant to the conversation. I offer, I hear back 2-3 days. At the same time, I'm putting other offers in. Yes, I may not see the other investors, but for me, it's more so a perspective. I can't see you. You're out of sight, out of mind. So you really don't exist to me. You get me? So that's my perspective on it. But back to the subject. Tax deed auctions, like I said, you can buy these properties for at a discounted price. And, you get these properties because people fail to pay their property taxes. For whatever reason, they no longer own that property. So it goes up to, like I said, foreclosure and all that good stuff. Government owns it. So they technically still own the house because we forever paying taxes. But that's a story for another day, okay? But like I said, you purchase these properties at a discounted price. And now not only gives you advantage, but sometimes people don't want to do this, but you could also sell it back to the seller, to the actual owner of the property. Yes, it sounds kind of crazy. Yeah, it sounds kind of fucked up, but business is business, and people do that all the time. Creditors do it. Mortgage companies, they add interest. So you as now the new buyer, you're taking over, not fully yet, but sometimes in some states you fully have ownership of the property. And now sometimes property owners will be like, listen, I love this house. My kids and I grew up in it. My kids grew up in this house. I raised my kids in this house. It's so easy to get from here and there to my job. Please don't do this to me. How can we work this out? And then most times, lenders and people who are pretty much in ownership of the property is an agreement, a consensual agreement that will come upon. And sometimes people will be like, listen, you can either pay me now, which I'm the new owner, so you're going to pay me like I'm the mortgage company, and you're paying me, but you're forever renting to this house. But if you're renting this house, we probably get a clause in there that says when you're ready to actually buy the house, we're going to set it at this price, right? So you have no ownership until you're actually ready to purchase this house from me. And at that time, I'm going to up the price on you based off the market. So sometimes people take that deal and they say, whatever, I know I took a L. I'll never not pay my taxes again. And some people are like, man, that's bullshit. This is my house. I want my house back. Goes into litigation, but never works because, like I said, you didn't pay your property tax. So now it's up for auction. And someone may be an asshole. Someone may not be an asshole. You don't really know who's going to get behind that closed door. So I would just say you just got to really watch how you take care of your home and, of course, your finances. The next thing is the rehab and flips. You get me? So let's just say the property don't want to, well, let me just back this up. Let's just say you buy the property, like the tax deed to the property, right? The deed to the property. And you make renovations to the property. This person knows what's going on to their house, right? They have no choice but to, like I said, offer to buy it back from you, or you take the chance to be like, you know what you're trying to do right now isn't in my investor timeline or forecast. I'm just going to take this property and flip it. So now you can make this property fix and flip rehab, right? So mind you, the first one is still getting residual income and selling it back to the person in a few years or a few months, depending on however the situation pan out. And that's usually owner financing, right? But it's a temporary depending on how fast or how soon, how fast or how long it takes for them to close and also actually make that purchase. But sometimes people feel so much of regret, they just move out the home. They say, man, fuck it. I'm just going to go ahead and go move somewhere else. That's an attachment. So it kind of hurts. But most people, like I said, everybody has their own deals. So when you do the fix and flip, it's easier also to not only flip that house because you bought it for such a cheap price, but also you more than likely bought it in a great neighborhood, right? Because people who fail to pay their property taxes, you don't know what happened. You probably ran into them and they probably ran into a situation where things got hard and things overdrafted or, it just got mixed in the pile and people even forgot about it. Sometimes people forgot about paying their taxes. And these things fall into collections, fall into other people's hands, the wrongful hands, and people just makes all type of ways to like make money off you. So then you being the new investor, you could buy this home, like I said, for a cheaper price, flip it, and now you're making a crazy amount of money. You quadrupled your bread and little to no effort needed. And most of the time, the house is fixed up and in good shape. You get me? People just don't, like I said, don't pay their taxes. And I'm gonna give you guys the last notepad. Sometimes when you're actually buying these houses at a cheap price and all that good stuff, you temporarily have a feeling of ownership, right? And when I say feeling, you could do a lot of things with this property, you guys. And I'm saying that with the most utmost. You could do a lot, right? And what I've been learning is once you own this property, you tell this person, hey, you don't want to do nothing with them. Okay, cool. You don't have to rent it out to them. You can make this, first and foremost, a Section 8 home. Second of all, an assisted living housing home. Or something for nurses to stay in, like a stay-incation, like 3-4 weeks at a time, but you did it at a cheap price. And most of the time when people are living in their home and then they fail to pay their property taxes, like I said, this home is in great condition, right? It's not like they failed their mortgage. It's not like they failed insurance. It's not like they failed renovations. They failed because property taxes might been crazy amount. You get me? They ask you for $5,000 at a time. You're like, man, this is a lot of money. You get me? And then you probably like, man, I feel bad for this person, but I also had to pay for their taxes up in the beginning. You could always quadruple your money just based off the square footage and also the amount of rooms. Section 8 recently just passed more vouchers to be going up and increase just because the housing shortage is so large. You get me? People don't realize my last episode, I spoke about, just getting rich off the change in the economic system. You get me? And I was just letting people know, listen, there's a lot of immigrants that's coming to the U.S. and we welcome them. But at the same time, you got to also take advantage of what's going on. You don't want to sit back and just watch everything going on. And you don't want to be that person who, of course, you could have had the opportunity to get rich or be in that great financial position, but you failed to do so, not paying attention to information, right? And that's why I'm giving you guys the information. So in different cities and different counties, you have tax deed auctions. Sometimes they happen every month, sometimes every 3 months. It depends on what county you live in. I'm not a guru in it. I just know right now, I think Fulton County does every 3 months. Who knows? They might change it. But like I said, you go to the courthouse downtown, wherever your house is, wherever you're located, and you can also get a list of foreclosures in the area. You can also get a list of the upcoming tax deed sales that's coming up for the new month or for the months ahead. And it'll tell you how much the unpaid balance is of every tax is plus the address on there. And then, you'll just go check out the property and do your due diligence. I'll tell people if you have the cash, have it, because you will need actually the full amount at the closing of the auction. It's not you going through a title company. It's not you actually paying a lawyer. You're actually being a bidder at this auction. And if you're, hopefully you end up winning, you got to pay. And if you don't pay, then you're fined. And then it's a lot of more, problematic things that's going to come towards you and also your name and image. So you don't want to be that person to say, oh, I don't have all the money, because you're going to have to pay that money up because you just lost them some money. So they try to make sure that everybody has the full money in the account. Also, make sure you register ahead of time, because I know most of the time, a lot of counties, they don't let you register day of. And if they do, long line, takes too much time, you're going to be backed up. And, I don't want you to be in that predicament where you didn't take care of your due diligence in the beginning. And I'm not saying you didn't do it because you didn't care. I'm just saying because you didn't read too much into the information. Last but not least, have fun. You're not going to win every auction. Like I said, if it may not be for you, it may be for someone else. You just got to see what is exactly for you. I never did it because I already know myself. Like, I see somebody who spent 25 grand on a freaking house, and the house was only worth 125. I'm like, bro, you could have, I had so many ways to just break that money down. I was like, man, I can't do this because I'll probably overspend for something I'm not even knowing for real what's going to happen in the near future. So study your market, study the environment, study the people that's going there. You might see the same faces two or three times, connect with people there, get cool with also the representatives at the courthouse, because they might be sending you some new things that's coming up. And like I said, you just got to build relationships. But like I said, have fun. You're not going to win everything. Some people are just loaded with cash. Some people just have people backed up, helping them out. And you just there really just to see what goes for you. If you like it, if you don't, move on to the next thing. Wholesaling might be a thing for you, a thing for you to do. I'm going to drop an episode for that for you guys. And if that's not the thing for you, then being a contractor. If that's not the thing for you, then an electrician. If that's not the thing, then realtor. I got an episode, with a realtor, Kyle Footman. I don't know what season that in. That's probably season 5 or 7. I don't know, you guys. Sorry. But, I got an episode about that as well. So there's different things to do within the realm of real estate. Inspector, like I said a couple episodes ago. So I'm trying to give you guys a gem to really get into this industry without, breaking your back and doing too much. So I appreciate you guys for listening to Road to Billions podcast. It's been an amazing journey. You guys take care. And thank you guys for listening once again. Take care.